Have you ever wondered what really makes someone sound like a natural, fluent English speaker? It's often not about using big, fancy words. It's something way more subtle. And today, we're going to solve a puzzle that is absolutely key to that kind of fluency.
So think about this for a second. We've all heard it. We've all probably said it. I don't want to make a mistake. It rolls off the tongue. It sounds perfectly right. But what happens if we just swap out one tiny word? Suddenly, you get do a mistake. And whoa, it just sounds clunky, right? It feels totally unnatural. But why is that? I mean, do and make are both action words. They seem so similar. So what's the secret here? Well, there is a very specific reason one of these sounds great and the other one sounds, well, wrong. It's like a secret code that fluent speakers use all the time without even thinking about it. And today, we are going to crack that code together. This is what I like to call the natural English puzzle. It's all about figuring out why some words are just drawn to each other like magnets, while other words seem to, I don't know, push each other away. And here it is. Here's your secret weapon to solve this puzzle. Collocations. This one word is the why behind everything we're talking about. Honestly, understanding this is the key to going from just speaking English to speaking it really, really naturally. So what in the world is a collocation? Well, the official definition is a natural combination of words that are frequently used together. The important thing to get is that this isn't about some strict grammar rule in a textbook. It's about what has just started to sound right to native speakers over hundreds of years. But let's ditch the textbook definition for a second. Here's a much easier way to think about it. Collocations are basically words that are best friends. They just love to hang out together. So make is best friends with mistake, but do isn't in the friend group. Simple as that. All right, so let's dig into this. We're going to dive into what I call the big verb showdown, where we'll look at some of the most common verbs in English and find their perfect partners, their best friends. Let's start with the classic point of confusion for pretty much everyone, do versus make. Okay, here's the general rule of thumb. We use do for actions, tasks, and jobs, things you perform. We use make when we're talking about creating or producing something new, something that wasn't there before. And you can really see this rule come to life when you look at the examples. Think about it. You do homework, that's a task. You do exercise, that's an action. But you make a decision, right? You're creating a new choice. You make progress. You're producing a new result. You see that pattern? It's all about action versus creation. Here's a perfect one you hear all the time. Could you do me a favor? A favor is a task you perform for someone. So, of course, do is its natural best friend. Now, do and make are just the start. Let's look at a few other heavy hitters. Okay. Next up, we have a real superstar verb, get. The main job of get is to talk about a change or a process. Think of it like a bridge from one state to another. You don't have a job, and then you get a job. You're single, then you get married. It's that moment of transition. Same for getting a degree. It's the result of a long process that changes who you are. Now, let's talk about take. This one is all about specific, chosen actions. You actively decide to take a break, or think about taking a photo. You're literally capturing an image, taking it from the world. It's a very deliberate verb, which is why it's also the perfect partner for taking a risk or taking part in something. And what about have? This is your go-to verb for experiences, for meals, for just living life. You have a conversation, you have lunch, you have a good time. You see, it's less about an action you're performing and more about something you're possessing or experiencing in that moment. You're not doing lunch, you're having the experience of eating lunch. Then there's give. The core idea here is really simple. You're handing something over to someone else. Sometimes it's a physical thing, like when you give someone a lift in your car. But it's also for things you can't touch. You can't hold a speech, but you give a speech to an audience. You're transferring your ideas. Same with giving advice. You're handing over your wisdom. And for our last verb in this showdown, set. Think of set as putting something firmly in place, establishing it so it won't move. You set an alarm, right? You're fixing a specific time. You set a goal, establishing a target that you're aiming for. It's also about creating a standard, which is exactly why we say you set an example for others to follow. Okay, theory time is over. You've seen the patterns, you've seen the examples. Now it's your turn. Let's do a little quick fire round to see how these word partnerships are sticking. Are you ready?
Here we go. First one. Complete this sentence for me. I will blank a decision after thinking about it. Which verb is all about creating a new choice or an outcome?
Yes, it is make a decision. Of course it is, because a decision is something you create. Fantastic. You got it.
All right, next challenge is a little different. Read this sentence. I need to give a phone call to my mom. Something in there it doesn't sound right. Can you spot the wrong word partner?
That's it. You don't give a phone call, you make a phone call. Excellent. Nice catch. You're really getting the hang of this.
Okay, last one. Super quick. Choose the right verb. Please don't make or give a noise. Which one is it?
It's make. You make a noise because you're creating a sound. And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The fastest way to sound more natural isn't about memorizing rules. It's about learning which words are best friends. You just have to start listening for these partnerships when you hear English being spoken.
And there you have it. These little word partnerships really are the secret. So I'll leave you with a final question. A challenge, really. What collocation are you going to try and use today? Thanks for joining me.